And when I got to the Grammys and like all the Doves and Stellars, I was like, dang. I really felt like that was a Maverick moment because no one's ever done that.
How many nominations did you have that year?
7.
At the Grammys?
7.
Hey, we can only put 3 faces on the billboard. Like, those are the things.
Whose decision was it to take my face off the billboard?
Jonathan J.
Some things that they thought were more industry standard, and we just were very other than. We were very Maverick in that.
Until we did play by the rules, and then I feel like it started getting sticky. Like,
you feel like you was blackballed?
Yeah.
Who blackballed you?
A ton of people.
Really?
Yeah. Just post sometimes that you're going through it. I'm like, why the hell would I post? What encouragement is that to my fans to be bleeding all over them? I don't regret that, because that was real. I just talked to Lil Nas. Like, so I was telling him, like, bro, I'll see you, man. I want to work with you one day.
He got his struggles. I got my struggles. JJ has his struggles. We're not going to sit here and enable each other's struggles. We know what's up. We know the word. We going to walk with each other together. Find something real. Like, you got an issue with Maverick? Find a real issue.
Welcome to another episode of Mavericks on the Mic. I'm JJ.
I'm Norman, and we have a very special guest with us here today, yes. And it's no other than the legendary
Dante Bowe.
Oh yes.
What's up, man?
Oh yes.
What up, man?
What's up, bro?
Good to see y'all.
Good to see you, man.
For sure, for sure.
How you been?
This your house too. You done blew up on us. Got money now.
Oh man, you know, God does what God does.
I like it.
I'm just his conduit.
I like it, man. Thanks for inviting me to be on this podcast.
Of course,
man. We excited to have you, man. You were the topic of our first podcast at Moments. We sat down with Ruslan, mm-hmm. And you know, we kind of walked through the genealogy of Maverick City music. So I think that'll be a good starting point for us. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So for those that don't know who you are, let's tell them, who is Dante Bowe?
That's a good question. I mean, I'm a friend, I'm a brother, I'm a son, but I think as it pertains to Maverick City, I mean, I started out just as a songwriter and always loved to songwrite, and we ended up blowing up. And then I was singing some of the records. Actually, you know, it's crazy. I actually sang the first ever Maverick City song. Yeah, real did. Thing.
You did.
And
written at the first ever camp.
Yeah, the first ever camp. So, I mean, as far as who I am in Maverick City, I'm a songwriter primarily, and then I'm an artist second to that.
Yeah, and you and Brandon were the first. You were there before Chandler and Naomi were.
Yeah. I showed JJ Chandler on TV. Because I used to watch Chandler at All Nations.
This is also true.
So we was at Bethel, and I was like showing them Chandler videos on TV.
That's very true.
I didn't know he would take my spot.
Wow. You feel like Chandler took your spot?
Yeah. No, I'm just joking.
We here.
I'm just joking. You know, all jokes aside, but Chan was like, that's like my teammate. Like, I felt like we were like teammates for sure. And
Jordan and Pippen or Shaq and Kobe?
Exactly, Jordan Pippen. That's what they used to call us that. People used to have signs and like call us that. And I feel like we everything we did, we won. You know, well, obviously we just did, you know, Voice of God. We did Wait on You, but both nominated for Grammys. Both were like really successful records. And I want to work with Chandler again at some point. But yeah, he ain't take my spot. We different. Yeah. We got the same kind of heart. You know, when it comes to worship.
Absolutely.
It's familiar.
Well, let's go back there. I mean, let's start at the beginning. Let's talk about like the beginning of Maverick City. We record that first album at that house out in Reading. The first volume of that small EP comes out, and then it just seems like the world got set on fire. Like, what do you remember back from those days?
I remember like not knowing what was going on and just being so zealous to have people hear my voice. You know, I was with Eddie James prior to Maverick City, and he never wanted to record nothing in 4K. Everything was on iPhones and stuff, so nothing ever went viral. And I would be having these great worship moments, but nobody would ever see them. And then I remember when I came to the camp, y'all had real cameras. So I was like, oh yeah, people about to see me finally lead worship. So I was excited to actually be caught on camera, like, you know, leading worship is something I was passionate about doing, you know, letting people see me actually do it like with quality, not just, you know.
Yeah, but it wasn't just leading worship, right? I think there was an edge that you guys had that was other than. It was special. It stood out. And I think people felt that from the first song we ever dropped, even from a lot of the videos that we put on IG. Like what is that? What was that? What do you think people felt when they saw and interacted with some of the songs that we released at the very beginning?
I mean, we Black kids, so we struggled. You know, we had struggles and stuff like that. We had been through a lot. Some of them, you know, Naomi was already married. You know, Chandler had his own, like, church history. You know, dad been a pastor. He was Travis Green, all this stuff. My grandmother and grandfather pastors, and then I was with Eddie James. Like, we didn't start in that room in Maverick City. We had already built this secret, like, relationship with God, like this private relationship with God, and we were already leading to that level. It was just, we were given a platform and all together, which made it even more powerful, I feel. Like, we all coming together as Black kids and leading in a genre that didn't have many Black kids in it.
Yeah.
And so that made it special too.
Yeah.
That we look different.
Yeah.
We act different.
Yeah, I remember very vividly the when we started doing stuff. I mean, I remember when I started, like when I became a songwriter and I kind of worked my way in the industry, I remember always being the only Black person. In every room I went in, it didn't matter if it was a writing room, at the
Jay, you
Dubs.
Black? I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
You know,
we ain't want to be.
I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
We joke about this all the time. Yes, I am Black.
Yeah, I know.
I'm Black. No, but I think, to that point, I just think there was something that, I think the fact that we were able to sing songs in a way that people weren't able to pigeonhole us as a gospel brand, but we were doing worship, it felt so other than, it felt so different, it felt so inspired.
Yeah.
And I think I love what you said about we struggle. We're Black. Like, talk a little bit more about that. What does that mean to you?
The Black experience is, you know, especially when you ain't got no money and when you're raised in the church, first of all, you like we were raised under strict guidelines and strict laws. Like, you know, we had to really abide by. We was in church Monday through Sunday. You know what I'm saying? Tent revivals and choir rehearsals and sleeping on the floors at shut-ins and all kind of stuff. Like, you had to be loyal to your church. It's just a culture, it's a way of being when you're raised as a Black kid in the church. You know what I'm saying? And so you go through struggles. And even though we hadn't talked about them when we all came together for the first recording, it was when we led worship together, we knew what it was. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we lead with heart. We lead with passion and zeal. Like, we don't sing from a place of privilege.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We sing from a place of, like, having to figure out, you know, how we gonna make it. Like, we're trying to make it. Like, we need opportunities in order to get out of our situations or whatever the case may be. And so we sang a little harder than the rest of the worship teams out there.
Absolutely.
I think that's a good point. I think oftentimes what often gets conflated in worship or Christian music is that no different than a pastor, an evangelist, prophet, CEO, cashier at McDonald's, that you guys are using your talent for God, but it's also a pathway to freedom and prosperity.
That's a great one.
And some wouldn't even use the word prosperity because it has such a connotation, but I would use the word financial blessing that changes the landscape of many of our families.
Absolutely.
And JJ and I, we often have this dialogue, and it's something I've always struggled with, and it's that I'm not big on making excuses that are centered solely on race, right? it's just it's difficult for me. I've worked really hard. Also, partially because I'm half African, so I think that has a lot to do with it. But as I've matriculated through life and I've come to find this appreciation and empathy for just the overall difficulty that exists being a minority in America. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that, I think that of all the spaces in the United States culture and institutions, that the institution of Christianity struggles with that more than anybody. Wow. And it's not that I place my Black identity above my Christian identity. I don't. I'm a Christian before I'm anything else. However, just as we can have an appreciation, just as I follow God before I'm a husband, I have appreciation for the needs of my wife.
Yeah.
I have an appreciation for the needs of my kids and how they're disproportionate from my needs as the breadwinner in the home, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that one of the things that I noticed, because I was on the outside looking in at Maverick City for a time, was that everyone was so afraid that you guys were going to take their spot. Mm. Everyone, like, there wasn't, when the Maverick City thing happened, there wasn't some internal, oh my God, we finally got something that's exciting and new. There was more this condescending, who is that? What are they doing? Why the videos look like that? Why it sound like that? Instead of people rallying around you guys and kind of holding your hands and saying, yo, man, this is really different. This is really something new that we can embrace. It was almost like everyone looked for every excuse not to embrace it. Yeah. Did you guys feel that? Did you sense that? Like, how did that come across to you guys?
Yeah, for sure. We felt that. And I feel like I could have been more of a help and a team player, because I did feel like the trailblazer of the group, because I was socially accepted into circles that they weren't yet, even though they had popping videos. Like when it comes to K-Love and the Doves and Bethel Music and Jesus Culture and Hillsong, like I had already worked with all these people prior to Volume 1, or after Volume 1, actually. And I feel like instead of, even though I did contribute and I was there for my team, I feel like I could have been more of an advocate. But yeah, not only did I feel that, I was around the people that were saying it. Mm. I was around gatekeepers that were saying it, but they would exclude me from it at the time. And
I think too, there's another dynamic. There's two very clear things that are happening, right? There's, you guys are like the former, like I know Chandler started with Travis and had done some stuff with Ty, and you had done some stuff with Eddie, had done some stuff with Travis. So you guys kind of come out of like, oh man, these guys were like helping some of these gospel artists lead worship, and now they're everywhere. Like, who are these people? The other side of it was like who me and Tony were at the time. Like it was a little, people didn't really know us, especially in the gospel community. Like people didn't have context for us. There was even, one of the ways I met you was there were these rumors that were going around saying that we were white, that the people who owned Maverick City were white. And I thought that was really interesting.
Close. If you ask me.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, so I think those are the dynamics that are at play at the very beginning, that kind of you feel this opposition. And honestly, we also kind of had this attitude to us where we kind of didn't play by the rules. Like I remember a few moments, key moments through our kind of beginning, where we kind of pushed away from those people that wanted to kind of maybe bring us closer or have us do some things that they thought were more industry standard. And we just were very we were very Maverick in that. So I think
until we did play by the rules, and then I feel like it started getting sticky. Like
what? Expound on that.
Like if Joel or Aaron, I'm not even gonna advocate for Joel, but like if Aaron had a song, it would be like or if not Tori Kelly, if Katie Torwalk came in town, she would get the record on the stage, and then our own teammate wouldn't. Okay. Or like if, we started swapping out our real team for like famous Christian people that didn't even really they loved us and they were with us, but I'm saying they weren't really on the team like that. But I feel like that's when, you know, sometimes like that can bring division just with the group.
Do you feel like that was a misstep on our part too?
Yeah. Like it was messed up with keeping the morale really high. Cause like everybody played their little part. Like you had like 4 main people, right? And then you had people that played their part to make it this iconic group. You know what I'm saying? That, you know, we couldn't do it without Lizzie, even though like Lizzie necessarily didn't have like the biggest record with Maverick City, but it was her style, her look. Like it just, we created this Lizzie person.
It was team.
Yeah, and so I feel like we just should have just kept it a team. Like we didn't need that many people to come in and do all this stuff. Like, but at the same time, everything happens for a reason. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So you got to give thanks in all things. But I do feel like that was one of the things that we did that made people feel unworthy.
I want to stay there for a minute. I think one of the things of this conversation that is going to be super important is that so many people have so many opinions of so many things.
Absolutely.
Surrounding you, Mav, us, who are these overarching forces and all of these things. And I think that this is going to be a real humanization, personification of what actually this journey has been. I think one of the beautiful things of this moment is we brothers. We talking basically every day.
Yeah.
You know, we back in fellowship.
And we've already talked about this stuff.
Yeah, we've talked about it. You know what I mean? We've definitely already talked about it, but we've never sat and let people know that like this is what family is.
Yeah.
Family, you go a season, you don't talk to your cousin for a year and a half. You know what I mean? Then you get back to the family reunion, he got on some dope shoes. You're like, bro, what you been up to? You know what I mean? And so, like, that's good because, you know, when I came around, one of the things that was big was that if you wrote the song, you sing the song, right? That's kind of how that's kind of how it kicked off. Like, if you write the song, you sing the song. Yeah. I guess that's a little different because Naomi did sing Promises, but the point that I'm getting at was that was the original ethos. And so you feel like when Maverick began to bring in feature artists to kind of commercialize what was happening in the raw, genuine worship room, it began to fracture the morale and the unity of the group?
I mean, it wasn't commercialized because we were already huge. Like, we were already in a stadium. But we were already, like, selling records in stadiums, getting nominated for all the awards. But that's not even important. I know people are like, oh, it's not about that. I get it. Like, but I'm saying we were already commercial.
Yeah, you're giving context.
Yeah, I'm giving context. And so while we were at that level, I feel like some people felt forgotten about. You know what I mean? The people that helped us get to that level.
What could have, like, I want to press it. Like, what could have been, like, all right, cool, we here. We get ready to go on tour. You know.
Well,
I can give you what happened. I can give you a situation.
Let's go.
All right, one time we was backstage, right? Everybody know Amos is my best friend, right? He be riding for me. I ride for him. Like, sometimes to a fault, I get in trouble. Like, I think sometimes, like, I really forfeited my career for my friend. Like, literally, I did. I could still have my career. I could have never been at odds with anybody if he didn't have issues.
Okay.
Like, that's the origin story of like where I started feeling like, oh, I'm a back talk, or I ain't coming to sound check because I'm Dante. They might treat him like that. They can't get rid of me.
I never knew this.
And so I would just be sassy because I didn't like how they was treating my best friend. And but one time we was backstage and they were like, hey, we got to get rid of one song because we got so-and-so coming in. And I could see his face, man. He was just like, I know they're going to get rid of my song. You know, he already putting his head down. And we had a bunch of stars. Granted, we did have a bunch of stars on the road. So you got to figure out what it's really about our followers too. Like, we're trying to like make sure the room is like feeling like the presence of God and like that the songs make sense. And sometimes you got to get rid of the song that people don't know that often. You know what I'm saying? I get that. But so yeah, they got rid of his song, and I was just like, hey, ain't nobody get rid of no Aaron. And I'm just fussing, and I can see the team face like, oh, here we go. Like, and I feel like that's when it started with me doing all that. Like, you know what I'm saying? And people like, what did you used to do? I would get attitudes like throughout the tour just because like he couldn't, like he was gonna get fired. He can get fired like that. Like it would take a long time for me to get fired.
You were putting him on. You were fighting for him.
I was fighting for him. Like I knew he was a star. He's still growing and learning, but like I just felt like, dang, like take my song off. And that's what I was telling him. Like take my record off. No, we can't take your record off. I'm like, well, let him sing I Thank God with me. And that's how that happened. That's how Aaron started closing the show out with me. Cause I just started feeling bad for him and Joel.
So, I'm glad you brought that up. This is one of the things about, we talk about this all the time, collaboration.
Wait. Last thing.
No, go ahead.
And the reason why I didn't fight for everybody is because like he's a part of the original story.
Yeah, for sure.
From beginning to the end. Like that's why, like listening to him, we added on MJ, we added people here and there that contribute, but like then you had like those that were like
there from the start.
There from the beginning. Like when you hear the records, you hear them, you know. So anyway.
Yeah, no, I mean we talk about collaboration all the time, and collaboration's beautiful when it works and when it's in the shiny lights and you get to tour it and you get to sell the records, but this is kind of the underbelly of collaboration, right?
Yep,
like
for real,
when you are, and we saw this every single, whether it was Brandon or Chandler or Naomi or you, it's like the artists, you guys have your own edge. You have clarity of what you do when you get on a stage. And a lot of times, not a lot of times, all the time that you guys were together and did Maverick City, y'all had to pull that back and sort of be mindful of how everybody else fit into the story. And for a lot of people who are out there who don't maybe know that, that's really difficult. That's really, really hard to feel like you have a gifting, calling, purpose, clarity of what you're supposed to be doing with your life, and to feel like you have to share that, but then also have to learn how to share that. And I think that's something that at first we were really, really, really good at. But I think as we started to tour, we started to, right? I think a lot of things just kind of had to come into a certain place. And I think one of my regrets is, man, I wish we were a lot more clear about how we were going to move into that season and set up everyone's expectations better. But yeah.
I think this is one of the conversations where it's like really easy for me to diagnose because I wasn't writing the music. I wasn't producing the music. I was just there to basically execute on larger vision. And what I would see a lot of,
to be fair, you weren't really even a part of that, but like that.
Yeah,
when we started getting mad at each other and stuff. You came after we already didn't like each other like that.
But he also came at an inflection point.
Yeah.
We had just finished OCB, and we made a decision within a week that we were going to go do this tour, and we were already late to put the tour out. So there's all these outside forces that are like, we're doing the tour. We just dropped the biggest record of Christian music in the past X whatever. There's pressure for things to be answered. There's photos that need to be taken, billboards that need to be made. Well, hey, we can only put 5 faces on the billboard. Whose faces are we putting up? Hey, we can only put 3 faces on the billboard. Like, those are the things.
Whose decision was it to take my face off the billboard?
Jonathan J. Can you answer the question, please?
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
Because I wrote Old Church Basement.
Yeah.
And I sang it too. That's one of the only songs on the album with no features. It's only Dante Bowe. I sang the whole song, top to bottom.
Yeah, I think it's funny, and I've never said this out loud, and I don't mean to say this to be offensive, but I think in the spirit of trying to be collaborative, I think we let some things slide that, looking back on them, they hurt people and they had implications. And I mean, I'll just tell you this right now, like, our leadership in that moment was horrible. Like, we should have had a conversation. We should have advocated for you to be on that photo. And I know we've talked about this off camera, but yeah, I mean, I think these are the things that I think when I look back and I go, those are more of the story of why things felt so fractured, right? Because we were trying to figure this thing out. We're getting asked questions. We're having to put names, and it's just like, well, wait a second. let's huddle here. Let's figure out like what the priority is. Let's figure out like whose face should be it. And I think because we didn't do that, it left things open-ended. And yeah, I mean, there was.
It made it worse.
It made it worse.
I think the reality that we don't speak to a lot is there were a lot of look, you're talking about you have.
So it was Furtick. LOL, I'm just kidding.
You're talking about, hey, I wasn't a part of the decision making. I don't know, but you're talking about at this time, you have Chandler, Naomi, Brandon, Dante, Joel Barnes, Lizzie Morgan, Ryan O'Fay, Aaron Moses,
MJ,
and Marianne George, right? You have 9 artists. None of them got deals, right? You and Brandon are finishing y'all Bethel deals are getting out of them. Y'all publishing deals is all up. We just released this Old Church Basement. Our first show is a sold out show in Sacramento. You know, y'all, people telling y'all Maverick making all of this money. People telling y'all getting robbed. People telling y'all that if you come over here to be like this. And I think the reality of it is, imagine taking the best player off of every NBA team. There's still going to be a hierarchy. Like at the All-Star game, LeBron's still going to get the last shot. Although KD take the last shot when he on the Suns, in the All-Star game, LeBron, there's like if you watch the Olympics, there's a difference that was paid. The difference amongst y'all was there wasn't much deference outside of existing friend groups when they came in, right? Mm-hmm. So you had Dante, Aaron, and Joel that kind of knew each other prior. Naomi was y'all knew of Chandler, but he wasn't in y'all friend group. You know what I mean? Brandon as well. He was solo dolo. Lizzie solo dolo. Her and Chandler knew each other, but she was solo dolo. And Marianne was solo dolo. And so what you see happening is everybody evaluating the experience of Maverick City through their own lens. There is no overarching man of God that y'all all got to bow down to, that y'all all got to answer to. It's this egalitarian approach or the democratic approach that whatever the group decides it is. And in that moment, like it happens in all democracies, people want to fight for their identity politics, right? For the things that matter to them. And the outside forces, what I believe, were able to pick apart and fracture the very cohesive unit that they never wanted to exist in the first place. That's how I see that time. That when you look back on the time in the season, the result of what ended up taking place is what they always wanted, right? And when I say they, I mean, you get what I'm saying? When I say they, I mean the industry, the places that are inviting people one-on-one now, the places that say, hey, I only want these two. Because the reality is the entire unit was something, it was the Avengers. It was something that couldn't be rivaled. Yeah. And the way that you knock that down or you knock that off is to play into the things that matter to each person more than what matters to the group. And over time, what happened is, because we're not a church and the ultimate decision is each individual person, you lose this sense of, well, I'm going to do what's in Chandler's best interest. I don't trust him to do what's in my best interest. I'm going to do what's in my best interest. I don't know if they're doing what's in my best interest, but now I bet if we can all look back and we see the results of what it is that, man, all those people that said they was going to be, where they at now? You know what I mean? All those people that said, oh, you can't, where they at now? You know, yeah, they'll call y'all in the right here and there, but as soon as something happens, oh, you can't come to my church no more. You know what I mean? Oh, you know, we excommunicate him for woo-da-woo-da-woo. And all of that's even fluff. That's all used to leverage you and your talent into what they want to use it for. And what I'll say, and I always said it, and I tell all the artists this, is that JJ and Tony, to their own detriment, only wanted what was best for y'all. What they didn't know was how to do it. They're not business guys. They're not businessmen. They're artists. They didn't know from day one that this thing was going to blow up and become this gigantic worship group. They just wanted to write some songs with some black kids in white spaces and bust and break down the glass ceiling and bury that it always existed. And so I wanted to add this context because I think it's super important when people looking at what this is today. And because, I mean, it was about 6, 7, 8, it was 100 different fake Maverick cities that rose up. The reason they never became anything is because one was called by God to do this. And the reason why we always can find common ground is because within us there's a purpose that doesn't go away. Mm-hmm. There's a purpose and unification that no matter what we went through, I can always find in myself to say, you know, Dante said, you know, we need to reach out to Aaron. Well, let's reach out to Aaron. Let's reach out to MJ. Let's call Joel. Let's see what's up. Because the will of God is more important than any pride, any art, any offense that we hold in today.
Yeah, for sure.
That's just what I wanted to make sure we hit. Like, man, this is bigger than us.
For sure.
It's bigger than the money. It's bigger than the fame. It's bigger than a big song. There's something about the unity that we held together that was special, unique, and it was life transformative for a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. For sure.
It's kind of weird to even be in the middle of that because, I mean, we felt all those things. We sensed all those things, but we also had those other realities that were fighting us. So it was this weird, like, it was disorienting is what I'm trying to say, because you feel the power of what we're doing together. You see the effect of it. You see God's hand on everything, but you also feel these other realities that are competing against that. And sometimes it's really hard to even voice that because is this a safe place to talk about that? I'm just thinking about how artists might have felt like, is this a safe place for me to even voice this? And how do I do that well? So yeah, I mean, I echo what you said 100%.
Yeah, we were young too, you know what I mean? And there was nothing pulling us together. I wish I prayed like I do now then, but like there was nothing like keeping us together. Like everything was pulling us apart. Like even when we would start talking to like execs, it would be private meetings. Like we stopped having team meetings unless it was like to get rid of Dante. No, I'm just kidding. But
we here.
I feel like there's a lot of things was pulling us apart. And I mean, even on my end, you know what I'm saying? Like I had my own little thing happening and I was, you know, definitely operating as an individual, and other people might feel that they did the same thing, you know, at some points. But I think more so for me, I really was, you know.
Yeah, we felt that. I mean, I remember feeling like, oh, and I don't know that it was a bad thing per se. It just was, oh, he's focused on Dante Bowe.
Yeah, I was just doing what Brandon Lake doing now. Like I was doing that then, and I feel like if I could go back in time, which I can't, I would probably bring people along my journey and make all my wins their wins. And when I'm performing at the award show, like make it about my team and pay homage to the peers that I really respected. Like I really respected my team. It was just hard for me to give myself to it 100% after just feeling like, oh man, this and that. And it was more so just about my best friend. Like I never really got left out of anything until Old Church Basement. Like I never felt like out of the loop until then, you know what I'm saying? And I get why I was like
we get
out of the loop. But
what I was gonna say, we can hit that. We can expand on that in a second as we continue through. I think 30 minutes in, I think the question everybody's waiting on is, did you leave Maverick City? And what's the story behind the statement?
I did leave Maverick City, but
so we didn't kick you out.
No, they did not kick me out. They just asked me to sit down for 6 months, and I can't. I can't. I gotta make another album. I'm hot. Like,
Can we
I
talk?
made a mistake like with the photo that everybody at this point is like 100 interviews, but even the Tamara Hall interview. But you know what I mean? But like, yes, it was. We know now it's a photo for sure.
So
At
we
the
didn't kick you out
time-
for Bad Buddy.
No,
Did we
did
ever
not.
even mention Bad Buddy to you?
No. We never even talked about that stuff. No. Like never. Like it was never anything besides that one incident necessarily. Like obviously, like being young people in a group, like we had plenty of stuff pop up throughout our lives. We were spending years of our time together and growing at the same time. But I'm talking about like as far as kicking out or like sitting down, it was this instance only that it was ever brought up, and at the time, we didn't know what would come of the photo. Like, so it could have been huge. It could have been what it was, where it's like nothing, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it still happened. And so that's the reason why I was asked to like step away for 6 months. Then I could come back and like, we'll figure it out from there. But I was just so mad at them. Like, I really was mad at these people. Like, cause it was just, I know they didn't like me like that. You know what I'm saying?
What do you say them? Who do you mean?
Who do I mean?
You mean me?
Yeah, you, like
So
Brandon Lake,
yeah.
like Tony. Not necessarily you.
It's funny because the three of us were the only people that were really talking during that whole, when we were trying to figure out what we were going to do next after the photo drop. Like it was the three of us. And I felt like,
I'm talking to a crisis team, y'all.
yeah, no,
It was crazy.
Yeah,
Like,
it was a lot.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that, goes unsaid is like, we were strapped. I mean, cause I had a heart I've known Dante prior to him being in Maverick City, he was on, I think I did. The first song.
You hired me?
Yeah, I did.
Travis.
But you didn't show up one time, so you know me.
He fired me too. Oh, wait. Normally hired me to sing feature beats for Travis Green when I was young. And then I looked on the planning center because I had the flu. I couldn't come to sing. So it was a big conference. And so I looked on the planning center. I was nowhere. Like, he just fired me straight up. Like, and when I blew up, I was so happy.
You removed people from the planning center?
Of course.
Before or after you fired them?
I don't know.
I was at the time. Like,
You got to ask Blair ran that stuff.
But yeah.
There's a lot of old Travis BGVs that are like now in the
for
in
sure.
the worship world.
Aaron played keys for us. Zeke.
Yeah, Zeke.
Dante.
I
Chandler.
love Travis. We looked up to Travis.
Travis.
We loved him. Like, for real. Everybody loved Travis.
Travis is the OG.
But yeah, bro, like I feel like, I'm like, okay, they are offering me, they said they'll pay me like to even sit down for 6 months.
We wanted to cover your salary. We wanted to cover your team
Niggas can't
salary.
afford me. My lifestyle crazy. They could probably, but I was still just mad at them, man. And I think I don't regret it. I don't regret leaving.
Wow.
I don't regret leaving. I think it was right for me, and I also don't regret being friends now. You know what I'm saying? Like coming back, talking, and like building our brotherhood now. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I needed to go away. And I needed to build something from the ground up, even if it's like not as prolific as the group I was in before. I needed humility. I needed to like be by myself, isolated. I moved to a different city alone, without my friends, without Aaron, without Joe. Like I needed all that. You know what I'm saying? To be who I am right now, even though it sucked, bro. Like looking at like Jackie put me in the side of the stage. Well, I'm nominated for Songwriter of the Year and stuff. She ain't gonna give me that middle seat no more. That hurt my feelings, Jackie.
Patillo, GMA.
That's my girl. Like yeah. I was hosting the pre-show right before Maverick posted that on Instagram. And so
Do you know why we had to post that?
They took me off the pre-show. You said what?
Do you know why we had to post that?
Oh,
do you understand why we had to post
I just told them, like, because we didn't know what would come of this photo. Like, it could have been what it was, like what it is now, where obviously it's like God really graced me, you know what I mean, gave me favor and graced me. Or it could have been some crazy moment, like, you know what I'm saying, that would affect every single person that's a part of my team. So I think that's why y'all had to say something.
Got it. Do you feel like it was? And I'm asking these
But
questions.
they were mean to me. Like,
We was mean to you.
not y'all. Like, my team, my peers was mean to me. Like, they didn't text me or call me or say nothing to me. Like,
Yeah. I want to talk about that. Like, what is that? What did that mean to you? Like when you heard radio silence. Like, what does that?
I didn't hear complete radio silence. Naomi, Chandler, Lizzie, and MJ called me. Let that sit. And they said we didn't want this to happen, but we were under pressure to do it. And, it is something that, it is my own consequence I have to deal with. You know what I'm saying? However, like, they did hit me up, and you and Normie. That's it. And so I knew who did it. Like, I knew who was really really wanted me like to sit down. And I get it. Like, I'm a wild card, Like, I think people like what I do. I'm the fastest writer. I'm the fastest writer. I'm the hardest worker. Like, I go harder than anybody. Like, and I feel like that just comes with some struggles here and there. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though that wasn't a particular struggle, that was really an accident. Thank God. But at the same time, I feel like people want me to be like this perfect person, but the reason why they love me or like me is because of my edge and how I'm still growing in front of them and like processing my life in front of them. Like, I really don't lie or hide on the internet as much as, people in my genre hide and lie. You know what I'm saying? Like, I will be honest, like, oh, Lil Nas X, or I will dance to Bad Bunny. I posted all this. Like, no one ever outed me.
Lil Nas X now.
No one ever outed me for anything. I posted all of this on the internet. Like, no one's ever done that to me.
Do you regret being on the red carpet saying that you was excited? Like, describe that moment. You the most nominated gospel artist ever and won Grammy Awards. They ask you who you excited.
That's how God works, bro. No, I don't regret that because that was real. I just talked to Lil Nas. Like, so I was telling him, like, bro, I'll see you, man. I want to work with you one day.
Yeah.
Like, I could see, like, the heart of the guy. Like, I don't necessarily, like, people try to make it seem like I was thinking about him twerking on the devil. Like, I don't even think about it. I never even seen the video for real besides the clips that Christians keep posting all over the internet. You know what I'm saying?
Someone asked me about it, and I was like, no. He's talking strictly from like a music lover.
They just like to pick on me because I'm just talkative. Like, I just say stuff. But, like, I obviously wasn't talking about this specific video. I really think he's a creative genius, and I feel like I wanted to do it at the time. I wanted to do a Christian record with him, a real one. Like, I really did want to do one with him. And so when I got to the interview, I had just talked to him. When I got to the interview, that's the first name that came to my head because I was literally just talking to him. And my ex-girlfriend loved Lil Nas. And so she was always playing him. So it was just in my head at the time. Like, it was no, like, of course there's other people I wanted to see. Like, they just couldn't come to my head fast enough. And I didn't know who I was performing. And so it just came out. I don't regret it. I don't regret that. I only regret that photo, by the way, in my entire career. I only regret one thing, and it's that photo. I could have still been Dante saying that, what I said on the carpet. And because I know my heart, you know what I'm saying? It was pure, and it had nothing to do with any, like, salaciousness or, like, any sexual, like, you know what I mean? Like, it was just straight up, like, love for his music. And Dancing to Bad Bunny, I wasn't in a party bus, you know, I was in a Sprinter, and it was my best friend's birthday, you know what I'm saying? And whoever playing, we love Chanoya, no. We love that song. I'm not ashamed of that. Your favorites love that song. Like, everybody love that song. So they just not telling y'all that, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so I'm like, why would I hide? You know, I get it, but that did not end my career. That did not.
I remember, and this was a very poignant moment for us. I think it was like kind of the last time we spoke for a while, but it was that night that everything came out. And I remember one of the things I felt like you were communicating to me in the moment was like, just that exactly. Like, dude, all these people do X, Y, and Z, and they get to whatever, and I'm the one. And do you remember that any of that conversation? You remember?
Yeah, I felt uncovered, but at the same time, like, I wasn't uncovered. I was covered. It was just my time. I had to face the smoke, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was just my time. Just like a lot of other your favorite preachers and these people that have a moment, you know, in the public eye that could really, is just detrimental to, you know, a season of their career. It was just, I was one of those people. I never thought I would be one of those people. None of us do. We all have regular flaws, like everybody, from your favorites to your least favorites. They all have a lot of the similar flaws. Some people get uncovered, you know, and I don't know how to say it, not uncovered, but like sometimes it's just people's time to, you know, deal with, you know, the public scrutiny. And I don't know why I felt like I wasn't gonna be one of those people, but it was my time. It was hard, bro. Like, it was hard, and I could have been really depressed about it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, one of the questions we have is that, like, your departure, man, you know, it stirred a lot of speculation. You know what I mean? And I mean, how have you handled it? You know what I'm saying? The public reaction. What lessons did you take away from the experience? Like,
I was like, should I just tell the world everything I know about every single person like I ever met? And I was like, that's gross. Like, I don't know. Like, that was my first thing that came to my head. Like, do some Dante stuff. Like, you know, some Dante stuff. Like, you know, I was like, that's actually gross. That's not my character. And I maintained that throughout my rollout, whatever, any interviews. I would just tell the story as natural as possible. And I really don't think it's my business, like, other people's falls or like failures and stuff like that. And I would never want what happened to me to happen to anybody at the hands of by my hands. You know what I'm saying? And so I just chose to take the high road as much as possible and talk crap about everybody with my friends. So that's what I did. That kept me from being depressed, is just talk shit with my friends and in public, just keep safe face and be nice and hug Brandon Lake at the Dove Awards. Like, do your due diligence, like, be a good person and don't allow this situation to ruin your life for real. You know what I'm saying? Because it's always a comeback. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I actually started to love everybody that was a part of Maverick slowly, without talking to everybody. Like, I started actually being able to cheerlead and be cool. The more my life got better, you know what I'm saying? The more I felt comfortable, like, showing up to a Chandler thing, or like me and Naomi ate dinner in New York after Tori Kelly concert. I actually went, and I was like, you know, I'm gonna go. Like, little stuff like coming to write with y'all like a few weeks ago, and like just healing. That's all it took, some therapy and some healing. And I mean, I forgave y'all without talking to you.
Yeah, that was very interesting, because I remember the first time that we spoke, it was like you were very clear, like, hey, like, that's good, man, we're good. Because I wanted to be like, hey, man, you know, we said this, and you were very clear from the beginning, like, no, man, like we're good.
Yeah, I feel that, and that's how I felt when I first saw everybody. I'm just like, I don't have no malice in my heart. I did what I did, like, you know what I mean? I have to face the music. Like, it was still my decision. Yeah. And you can't put it on another man to, like, you know, do what you would do in a situation. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I had to, you know, deal with my own consequences. And I've come to terms with that. That's in general, that's my takeaway. It's like, I did it, and it's still my consequence. You know what I'm saying? And whether or not my brothers covered me or not is not really the point of it. It was my lesson to learn.
So I know one night you and Brandon Bailey was on TikTok, and you said you was never coming back to Mavericks.
I probably had some Sir Davis.
Some Sir Davis.
You know what Sir Davis is?
I'm assuming it's some alcohol.
I'm just kidding. I didn't. I don't know why. I mean, I can't remember what I said. I said I was never coming back.
You said I'm never coming back to Maverick.
Oh, well. I guess that's what I said. I don't know.
How do you feel today? Like, where's your head in that perspective as you sit here right now?
That's a big question. Like, obviously, like, we just started writing, and I wrote with Chandler Naomi the other day in Nashville. I loved it. I missed it. Like, I don't have no beef with nobody, so I guess it would be like if the chips fell like that way, then I would go with whatever God wanted for my life. You know what I'm saying? And if everybody was happy, like my friends, my family, then I would be more open to it. You know what I'm saying?
What would that mean for your current transition into R&B?
Oh, it's just what it is. Like, I'm an artist. I just be making music. Like, I don't take it as serious as people think I do. Like, I really love creating music. Like, I make it in my sleep. And so when it comes to me being R&B, I just make R&B music now from time to time. But I make Christian music too. And if Sabrina Carpenter wanted a song, I'll write one for her too. Like, I just like making music. Like, I want to be successful, but you know, I don't know where I'll end up. I might do a worship album. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love Jesus first before anything, anybody. And so I might do a worship album. Or if something mixed and mastered and everybody's like, ooh, it's a hit, I might drop it. It might be an R&B record. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't know, bro.
I think, yeah. I mean, kind of going back to the genius of, I look back at some of the first, few albums and projects we did, and I see you all over it. I remember just so vividly your genius and your creativity just shines through. Even the other day, just having you back around, and just, I don't know where you are in that journey or where your headspace is, but I mean, I definitely think there's calling and purpose. And
I'm called to lead worship. I'm one of the best worship leaders in the world. Like, I watch my videos. Like, when I want to get a breakthrough, I watch me lead worship on YouTube.
Wow.
For real. And then second to that, I watch my Maverick City family. Like, they lead better than anybody in the whole entire world.
Let's talk about that, because I remember when you guys...
There's no better worship leaders.
Yeah. Why is that? Why?
Because that junk's so real.
Yeah.
Like, I know I'm being real up there because I know me. So I can lead myself into worship. Like, I trust me leading me into worship. Yeah. And then I know what Chandler been through. I know what Aaron and Naomi have been through. Like, they real worship leaders. Like, they really serious about this. Like, they love doing it for God. Like, they really are legit worship leaders. And I think sometimes people think because people got struggles that makes them fake worship leaders or something like that. Like, nah, like, I can't take away that they're real worship leaders. Like, these people really do have a heart to, to do what you see them do on stage. Like, they really have that heart. You know what I'm saying? Like,
what do you say to people who, to your point, what do you say to people who are critical of maybe lifestyles or even things
haters.
That
they don't want you to be better than, like, no one wants. It's like they love you when you coming up, and then when you blow up, they hate you because you got money, or they hate you because you don't look sad. Or, I'm not gonna cap. I would say who told me to say this, but I have a lot of respect for her, and she's everybody's favorite worship leader. She told me, why don't you just post some of your struggles sometimes on the internet instead of posting you wearing Louis or posting you at this fabulous dinner, or like just post sometimes that you're going through it. I'm like, why the hell would I post? Well, what encouragement is that to my fans to be bleeding all over them, like with my personal issues? No, I need to go to therapy. Like when it comes to my personal issues, or see my pastor. But like, it's not for me to be posting and crying on the internet. You know what I'm saying? And I remember a famous contemporary Christian worship leader told me, I think we just don't like that you just posted your life is so perfect. You know what I'm saying? And so I feel like with Maverick, we have encouraged the younger generation to really chase after their dreams. Like, just because you're a Christian don't mean you can't sell out in the arena. We ain't never seen that before until us. Like, just because you're a Christian don't mean you can't know Justin Bieber. It can't mean Normani. Normani follow me. Victoria Monet follow me. Everybody follow me. And it was Maverick was pop stars. And they just was mad because they weren't pop stars. And it sucks because they've made this illusion to where, like, oh, no, God's not in that. Like, you can't be doing something for Jesus and have all that. Yes, you can.
It's like, that's what we talked about on another podcast. What?
Yes, you
nihilism.
can.
Christian nihilism, yeah.
Christian
Oh, no,
nihilism.
yes,
Just
bro.
because it's big, it's bad.
Just because it's big, it's bad. Just because there's wealth,
Yes.
it's bad. Just because. And one of the things that I often, one of the things that I was saying, and you're being very real authentic right now. I love that. One of the things I often noticed is that the criticism as you grow seemingly comes from one sect
Yes.
of this space.
Yes. It's cultural.
It's very cultural.
It's very cultural what we're talking about.
What we're talking, it's like, instead of posting your Louis and Dante going with his business partners on a private jet, but you know, a game of golf will run you. A game of golf with 10 buddies
No,
gonna
for
run you
Well,
about 5 figures.
I think in some ways it's even more insidious than that, right? Because I think, I mean, we know, right?
Yeah.
Like the white guys spend their money just like we do.
Yeah. And
Have you seen fill in the blank person's house, their car? They just don't post it. They just don't whatever
The
you
person that told me to do it has everything.
exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
I think, and I think that was one of the things that it was so interesting when Maverick kind of burst on the scene. It was this very, oh my gosh, if you're successful and you're a worship leader, you definitely shouldn't act like. And it was, I think that's cultural, because I think the churches that we probably all grew up in at some point in our lives, that's normal for a pastor to have
Absolutely.
a nice car or a nice suit or a nice house. Like, whereas like in, maybe on the other side of things, it's maybe not as normal. And I think for us, what we were trying to be was just ourselves. We were just trying to be authentic. Like, yes, we
trying to even do more than that. And I talked about
Inspire
this.
people.
Yeah, exactly. I talked about it, and I want you to hit on that too. It's like one thing that gets lost, and it's the nuance of this space. It's the nuance of what we do, and it's why, like, in collaboration, you got to sit down and have dinner with somebody, and we got to really begin to stop judging things on the surface. Like, if you grew up in, respectfully, Omaha, Nebraska, and all you know is your local Baptist church and how your pastor moves around and how your mom and dad moved around, I respect that. I respect and understand that you may not understand what it's like to grow up as a black man in the deep South and get your head slammed against the car just for driving down the road too fast. That happened to me. And my grandmother has a degree, my mother has a degree, my father has a degree, my sister has a degree. We owned more land in my hometown than anybody when I was growing up. And like, I was a straight A student, nearly perfect SAT score, went to college. Didn't matter in that moment. And Norman, I didn't know what an engineer was when I graduated. I never heard of an engineer when I was graduating high school, simply due to lack of exposure, right? And I'm talking about my mom's a pharmacist. My dad has a doctorate in pharmacy. My grandmother is an entrepreneur, has been owning businesses since the 1940s. God rest her soul. I had never heard of an engineer. Never even heard of it. And that's solely based on my lack of exposure to thing. And I'm using me as an example, because I didn't grow up in the hood. No disrespect to that. I grew up very privileged relative to many of my peers. And there's a lack of just representation. The person I looked up to with doctor parents, straight A's, was T.I. T.I. And then LeBron, and then Drake. No. Serious business.
Nah, for real.
You know what I'm saying? Those were the people I saw as successful.
Yeah.
Because back then, there was no Robert Smith. There was no Kenneth Chenault.
Yeah.
Robert Smith being the private equity owner, the richest black. Oprah became the richest. But another television star. I knew I wasn't going to the NBA. I knew I wasn't gonna rap. I didn't know. So when I went to college the first time, I sucked because I didn't have a pathway or I didn't have an example of what success looked like. I knew T.I., he had the candy painted cars, he wore the chains. At the end of the day, culturally, I'm a black man from the South. And just because I'm saved doesn't mean there's an erasure of everything that I grew up culturally going through. And it doesn't make me a bad guy or a guy that, but I remember we was at the Grammys and because I had my chains on, they said I didn't love the Lord. Like, that's asinine. You know what I'm saying? So if someone in a St. Laurent suit don't love God, a guy with the $50,000 golf clubs don't love God. It's like, it's what they call what is it called? It's microaggressions and bias based upon cultural differences. And these are the moments where when you look at the Mav kids and y'all make these silly jokes about, oh, we're flashy or we're this, we're just not like you. You know, y'all shoes dirty. You look like you stink. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just different culturally, and nobody has to. I'm not saying this to say, oh, woe is us. Like, you know, oh, we the little black boys get beat. Nah, I'm not doing that. I'm saying this to like appreciate that we're men that love the Lord, love our wives, love our families, entrepreneurs in our 30s. So, you know what I'm saying? We came together. We pulled each other up. We found a way to work together, not be crabs in the barrel, collaborate. We don't make content that is degrading to our community. We don't make content that puts people down. We don't make content that is self-deprecating, any of that. We make content that uplifts the Lord every single day. Put out a song today. You know, we got a song today with Glorilla on it, right? And so it's like, oh, Maverick City, I knew they worship the devil. Because Glorilla's talking about how much she loved the Lord, we worship the devil. She ain't cussing on it. And the question is, why you know Glorilla put an album out? if anything, right? If we gonna keep it a buck, the only people that should be listening to the Glorilla album is Glorilla fans. Christians shouldn't even be listening to it. We didn't make that song. We made Mav House for Christians. That's already well. We made the song with Glorilla for the people in the hospital. Absolutely. After they get through Hold On and TGIF, they're going to roll into Rain on Me. And they're going, whoa, what's this? Glorilla praying? Talking about her baby daddy hate her, but God, please help him? Oh, and Kirk said, no matter where you are, I ain't too far from God. It's for her fans. There's a plethora of music, plethora of content for people that are already well.
Becoming all things to win some.
We become all things to all people to win some. Yeah. And as Jesus said, the well don't need a doctor. I came to be a physician to the sick. Our job, our mandate ain't everybody mandate. Not everybody can sit and collab with Glorilla because you can't relate culturally. Just as we may not be able to relate culturally with Morgan Wallen. He gonna have to do that collab with somebody. You know what I'm saying? There is a cultural distinction. She grew up Kojic, going to lock-ins. Her middle name is Hallelujah. Get context on the person before you judge it on the surface. And I feel like when it comes to Maverick, when it comes to the artist in Maverick, when it comes to our experiences and why Dante may feel the way he feels and the need to pop out. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to pop out and show, you know, the famous. That comes from the cultural way that we grow up. That comes from the way that we are ingratiated in America. Because you got to be 2 times as good to get half as much.
Absolutely.
And understand, like, a lot of these people in the contemporary Christian space can't do anything else vocally or visually. So sometimes it's a burden on us when we look a certain way and we know, like, Tasha can go to the BET Awards and smash. You can't send just any old contemporary artist at the BET or the MTV Awards and they can smash. You know what I'm saying? Like, she looked a certain way. She got swag. Like, she you know, it's the way we present ourselves as black people, I think. Now, I don't want us to make it a race thing, because they're probably, you got Natalie Grant, you got people that can really blow and stuff like that. But I'm saying that sometimes it's just a burden and we want to try something else. Like, or we will get asked to do things that you are not going to get, your favorite artist will not get asked to do. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? Just because of how we've positioned ourselves and presented ourselves to the world. You know what I'm saying? And it has nothing to do with our faith in Jesus.
I like to say it like this. It's purpose. It's calling. It's what we have been put on this earth to do.
Yes.
And what we do is between us and God.
Yes.
And the people that he's trying to reach.
Yes.
And how you feel about it is how you feel about it.
Absolutely. Because we don't do this for a platform. We don't do this for fans. We don't do this we do this to save souls. Yeah. We'll leave the 99 for the one. Like he would. If it's only one person left and they say, and they do the prayer of salvation. That's what we did this for, man. Like, I think people get it bent that we are here to maintain some platform for people that are already well. We're not. We after the Great Commission. We not after the check that y'all think we after. And that's another thing people keep mentioning about, like, I know what it was like for you to go R&B. It ain't about chasing no. It's harder. It's much harder. Dante would have made way more money staying as a worship leader, writing some of the biggest songs of our generation. We don't get like when we did y'all, that Maverick, they chase it. We didn't get paid to do the Will Smith thing, man. We don't get paid to be on Glorilla album. We don't get paid to do that stuff. We do that stuff because it's an opportunity to take the gospel somewhere it wouldn't otherwise go. You know what I mean? When these shows are deciding that when these shows fill with other type of content, decide that they want to have a moment honoring God the Father, where we're proclaiming the name of Jesus, we should all be collectively celebrating. Not talking about you shouldn't go there. Like, what? Do y'all read the Bible?
Yeah.
Jesus in the pub? He goes through Samaria to meet the woman at the well. Do y'all read the Bible?
Yeah.
Like, it's in there. So I guess the prodigal son's father shouldn't have took him back because he left. You know what I mean? Like, what Bible are we reading?
Yeah, for sure.
And then it's always this use of, oh, you're not supposed to mix light and dark. Like, y'all are misusing that scripture so horribly. That is talking about bringing pagan gods into the temple. That's what it's about. It's about idolatry. It has nothing to do about spending time with sinners. Read the entire passage. It literally goes right from that into talking about the other gods not to bring into God's temple. It has absolutely nothing to do with you sitting next to your sinning, non-believing coworker at your job, or your sinning, non-believing boss at your job. You fellowship with them every single day. You eat lunch with them every single day, and you have no problem with it. You have no problem with it. Someone's lifestyle isn't for you to judge. Mm-hmm. It's not. No, now let me take that back. We should have righteous judgment on the way people live. Mm-hmm. But we do it in relationship, and we do it with grace and truth. Yeah. We do it with grace and truth. If I'm with my brother Dante, and he tells me what he going through, I'm not going to sit with Dante and say, hey, bro, let's go sin. Right? Mm-hmm. He got his struggles. I got my struggles. JJ has his struggles. We're not going to sit here and enable each other's struggles. We know what's up. We know the word. We going to walk with each other together. I ain't got to beat him over the top of the head with the Bible and say the Bible say this. He knows what's up. And in my quiet time, in my private time, I'm going to pray for him. I pray to God, he prays for me. I pray for JJ. I'm going to drop hints here and there. That's what relationship looks like. That's what Jesus did. Jesus walked with Judas every day.
Yeah.
Every day. Judas was casting out demons, laying hands on people, they getting healed. And he the same Negro that was robbing Jesus, turned on him, kissed him on the cheek for what, 50 silvers? Mm. Peter walking with him every day. They walking with a perfect man that's full of it all. That's God in flesh. And even him teaching them every day, they fell short. Mm. More or less us. Yeah. So I just, like, for me, the reason why this is so important with you here is like, our goal when we got together to do this, it's to save souls, man.
Right.
It's to get after the thing God wants us after. And like we get caught up on all these nuances and fake controversies and like find something that find something real. Like you got an issue with Maverick, find a real issue. Go pick out a song that got bad theology and send it to us so we can correct it. Don't be talking about at the BET Awards, we doing a satanic ritual. With what content? With what content? Using scripture from Job? Like, how can what Jesus said? How can Beelzebub be against Beelzebub? Like, how the devil gonna use you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a kingdom divided. You're not gonna use the word of God against the word of God. That it just doesn't make any sense. Like, those are the things where it's like, it really grinds my gears, and I get on these, about this because, man, it's not that it's not fair, it's disingenuous.
Yeah.
It's disingenuous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the way. It's disingenuous.
Man, I'm gonna stay out of the award show thing because I know what I did. But
what about that though? You know, you went and did your dance at the Soul Train Award.
I ate it up. I ate it up. I just wanted to be a star for a little while.
And so we've talked about that privately. No, I want the people to understand. Like, what is your reflection on that season? Because we've talked about that privately, and I think this will help some young artists. Like, as you reflect back on that season, and I know we kind of got off, but this is important. Like, this conversation is super important because I do believe Dante has gone through some unnecessary strife, just being a 20-year-old man, finding his journey in life. Mm-hmm. Just as I believe that there was unnecessary criticism toward what the entire group and the individuals in Maverick City have done, and not enough appreciation for what these guys really brought to the table. And instead of coalescing around and mentoring and help,
that's how I feel.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that is how I feel, man. Like we should be honored at some point in some ways. Like, I felt like it was always criticism and trying to prove ourselves to people that, you know, went before us, or just trying to like fit in, you know, trying to make us fit in, and all these. It was a horrible season of our lives being as big as we were because of our own people, Absolutely. Our own industry. It was really like hard for us. I'm talking about even while we were friends.
Oh, I know.
When we were close friends, we would struggle because it was always some older person in our world trying to beat us down or say this or spread this rumor, like really trying to hurt. And I think they didn't look at us as kids because we were so popular, so big, and so anointed. You know what I'm saying? They saw us as their age or older, but
they saw you as competition.
Yeah, they did. But we were young, man. We were like kids trying to figure this out, and there was some crazy stuff being said about us. Yeah. And so it will always distract us. You know what I'm saying? So that caused a lot of strife. But as far as like the season I went through, you know, with my last album and with Wind Me Up, it's just something I felt like was appropriate for where I was. You know what I'm saying? That's what I was doing. Like, that's what I was on. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to have a party on the beach. Mm-hmm. I did a video, partying on the beach with some of them. A lot of them was my friends. You know what I'm saying? And so I've always tried to be honest in my art and honest with my fans about where I am. I mean, with discretion, of course. But like, that was just honestly where I was. I was having fun, and not fun like recklessness, but I was outside.
Do you understand why people had issue with it?
Yeah. I made it knowing like it wouldn't, some people wouldn't be fond of it, but a lot of people liked it. A lot of people loved it, and it opened doors for me that weren't open before. And I don't know what my next thing is, you know what I'm saying? But I don't regret doing that.
I got a different question. And in a different podcast, we talked about the supporters saw you guys as their worship pastors. Did you feel like you were the worship pastor to people following you, to support the fans, the supporters? Like, did you see yourself as like the person like guiding them through their journey of Christianity?
Mm-hmm. I always felt like the voice of the young, I always felt like I was there for like young people though.
Do you think that I'm impressed here? Do you don't feel like that gave you a larger responsibility than just what you felt?
Yeah, I feel like I carried the responsibility.
Really?
Yeah.
So when you made a decision from you, so you recognize we're admitting that you felt like you were their worship pastor. You don't think that then going to do something.
I didn't feel like they worship pastor.
That's what
I felt like I was a voice for the young people. That's what I'm saying. I felt like a voice into their lives, like I was their big brother. I was always on Instagram Live, goofing off, being honest. Like my fans done heard me say more than Bad Bunny. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they know, if you follow me, you know me. Like that's just like I'm cool. Like and I'm as honest as I can be without, too much. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's always been my spiel. Like Chandler gonna get on the internet and preach. They ain't never heard me do that. Mm-hmm. Like Naomi's a preacher. They ain't never heard me do that. That's just never been. I do preach because I love the word and I love Jesus. But I'm saying I've always carried my brand
as an artist.
As an artist, always. Even when I signed with Bethel, I'm the first one to not put out a worship record. Joyful was the first. Forrest Frank, like, I'm gonna be John. They was mad at me. They didn't think it would be a hit, and it was. But at the time, like, it was like, why you not doing champ? Like, why can't that be your first single? You know what I'm saying? And so I just did it with the collective. But my point is, like, I never felt like boxed into this like worship pastor to the nations type of idea. Mm-hmm. I always felt like I was just a voice to young people. I always posted my fashion, what I was wearing. I mean, even if you go back to the beginning, like I met Maverick City and Gucci. And so I always was into that stuff. I always was into art, like paintings and stuff like that. Like I always been that person in the group.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To bring everybody forward culturally. I was culturally cooler than everybody. Like they churchy for real. Like I was never as churchy as they were. They would all say that.
You taught Norman how to dress?
No, Norman was after that. Norman already had his like stuff on, but Norman now he dressed nice. Norman used to dress like a rapper for real. Now he dressed real nice.
Always talk.
He dressed real nice now.
I'm a Negro from the South. I'm from the country.
But when I met Chandler and the rest of them, bro, yes, like I put them on game. Like blame me for making everybody cool in the group. Cause I really was like the person like, hey Tony, man.
We got a couple
wearing
more
pink hair on the videos, man.
Tony had pink hair?
Nah.
Oh, somebody had pink hair.
Yeah. I want to say this real quick. I was just thinking about even the way that he kind of said it earlier, but I wanted to kind of give it more of a voice. The way that the industry there were a select few worship leaders and influential people in the worship industry and space that really kind of took to you guys and affirmed you publicly. And then it just seems like they kind of just turned their backs on you when there was a little bit of a difference or maybe even disagreement about how you guys did certain things. And yeah, I agree with you. And I wanted to say that back to you when you were talking earlier about how you went through some things that just were painful, trying to feel like being accepted by people who had gone before you and not really getting that and always feeling like you had to try to prove yourself. And yeah, I mean, I think that was something that I noticed again. I think it goes back to just what we talked about earlier with being cultural and some of those differences. But
they loved it in the beginning. I was like a shiny toy because how I act. Like this personality got me into a lot of doors. Like I remember getting off stage at K-Love and getting offered a tour from Fort King and Country, the biggest worship group in the world. Like just like that. Like I remember getting offered like I was getting so many tours. I was the first one in Maverick to get offered a real tour on their own, $3 million tour. Like, and it was just because I was a shiny, like they loved this personality in that context. And I think once I started, you know, with the Bad Bunny and the little, like, once I started being too honest and stuff, that's when it got really bad for me. But I'm like, I will end with, I want to end with this with me. I'm just gonna end with this. I feel like we should have, I feel like me, Chan, Nay, Aaron, Brandon, yeah, Joel.
Why do you hesitate with Brandon?
Because Brandon's doing what he wants to do, what he always wanted to do.
What do you mean by that?
He's doing what he always wanted to do, and that's do what he's doing right now. And I'm not even mad that I didn't perform Gratitude on the Doves. Like, I used to be mad about that, him and Benjamin. Like, and I was the third writer. But I wasn't even mad about it. Like, I just feel like these are the people that absent of him, the rest of the group, I feel like we could have stuck together and changed. This is another reason I don't put him in this, because I feel like we could have changed the whole genre if we stuck together. There'd have been 100 of us. We could have raised 100 of us. These kids are trying to be us, don't know what it's like to be close to us. Like, they're doing it. Like, we made each other great. Like, writing a song with me, you're gonna learn how to write a song. Like, leading worship with Chandler, you're gonna learn how to lead worship.
Yeah.
For real. Like,
it was a bunch of osmosis. It was like
everybody starts getting good.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody just starts, like,
Yeah.
hearing Aaron arrange a record with keys, like, you're gonna learn how to play the Maverick way. Like, that's when y'all came up with the Maverick way. I'm like, I know the Maverick way. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I feel like if we would have stuck together and like, just like, I hate I'm about to say this, but like, us versus them, if we would have been like, stop listening to all these people telling us what to do and like, we fighting against them. Like, these are our opposers. Like, we really had some crazy warfare going on. Like,
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And we would listen to little pockets that mattered to us. Like, maybe I'm closer to this crew, and then maybe Brandon's closer to this crew. And like, so we would all be talking to different people, try to come together. I wish we would have just sat down and been like, y'all, like, I wish we had wisdom. I wish we was praying and we had wisdom to know, like, no, they're trying to like tear us apart.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I told my pastor that. I said, man, the one thing I regret is that we didn't recognize the devil doesn't take kindly to you putting 10,000 people in an arena, in a territory, in a principality. We don't wrestle against flesh and blood. You know what I'm saying? And a principality, lifting up the name of Jesus. Young kids, 18 to 35, all races, colors, creeds, sexual orientations. They all in there lifting up the name of Jesus. And the spiritual warfare that we were going to come up against, I think my biggest regret, we put pastors on the road, we did all of these things, but the level of preparation necessary for us to be ready for those moments, I just don't think we did the work necessary to be ready.
Heck no, bro.
You know what I'm saying? I really don't think we did the work necessary to be ready for those moments. And that is my biggest regret. Like, the fasting. It's not that we didn't fast. It's not that we didn't pray. You know what I'm saying? It's that we needed to be 40 days, 40 nights, guarding Gethsemane. I can't even pronounce it. Gethsemane. Like, we need to be sweating thick as blood. Like, that's the type of stuff we was up against. And we allowed our optimism and negligence almost to lead us to where we are today. But the beauty is all things work together for the good of those that love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So that's why you see this reconnection taking place, because it's necessary.
Yeah, and then everybody just like over it. Like, I feel like everybody that was in the group that knows what happened. Like, I remember pulling up to the first date. We had never done a show for real. We did a Juneteenth thing, right?
It was like
for multiple worship leaders and stuff. And it wasn't necessarily our show, but we did see a lot of people come up. But we were from Atlanta. We built it in Atlanta, so it wasn't that crazy. I remember getting to our first show.
Sacramento.
We had never toured before. And we're like, oh, okay, we don't know it's going to be there, but we're going to still give it our best. Like, all the stuff. And we heard it was sold out, right?
Yeah, it was sold out.
But we heard there's gonna be a lot of people there, but we didn't know what was gonna happen, bro. Like, it was like what you would see on a Justin Bieber documentary.
I'm so glad that you said
like
that.
the bands, like boom, 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 hitting the bands, like.
I'm so glad you said that. I remember being in that room. I've traveled all over the world. I've been in rooms. I have never in my life felt that much faith in a room. When we got, it was like, I remember sitting on the side of the stage feeling like, oh man, anything could happen. So like, if someone came in here dead, they would be raised. It was that much faith. I could feel it. I remember you. I don't think Tony was there. I think you were there. I was there, and then the band. But it was. I remember talking after the show and feeling like, I think I said this. I was like, this is unstoppable.
If we ever did it again, it would have to be like that. Like, I don't want to do choreo.
Yeah,
Glad you said that.
I always say that. You know,
I wanted to be like that, but we had
lead and worship, baby.
But we had to do that. We had to go to the next little, like, it got so crazy, and then y'all did the Kirk collab, and it was just getting crazier and crazier and crazier.
I mean, you talking about, that's the biggest Christian tour of all time.
I know.
All time.
Was it?
Kingdom. There's never been a tour bigger.
Wow.
Never in the history of Christian music. 8 of the biggest shows ever were on that tour. The biggest ever was DC.
Wow.
You still the CEO of True Music Group?
Yeah, I love True, man. They my family. I have freedom to make what I want to make, work with who I want to work with. And that's something I didn't even get when I was with my Christian label. You know what I'm saying? No shade. But yeah, I like that I get to like decide where I want to go. Like, you know, I'm flying to work with Taylor Hill soon. I've done Jerry Wanda this record. I've worked with Chaz this record. I worked with Kemper this record. Brandon Bailey. Just whoever I want to. I'm working with y'all, writing songs for y'all. They chill, you know what I mean? For the most part, they just, I feel like I really needed help, like big brother, big sister, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like they helped me. And I needed people that didn't need my money or my fame. Mm-hmm. You know, it wasn't contingent upon that. Like, it really is all love, because like they don't need me to pop off. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Even though that's what we want, it's different when you're working with people that don't necessarily need it. They're just doing it because they think you're a star.
Yeah.
So, what would you say was your Maverick moment?
My what moment?
Your Maverick moment. You know, you know what a Maverick is. What do you think is your moment? Like your breakout, your breakaway, moment. Independent, unconventional.
I think my Maverick moment of like all time.
Yep.
Was when I dropped a record when I dropped Champion with Bethel, and it was like one of the most popular songs on CCLI at one time. And then I dropped, it's all in the same year, I dropped a record with you guys, Maverick. And it was super popular. My songs were like selling, and I was really happy my songs were selling. And then in the same year, I was like, I want Chillin' and Stephanie Gray singing on Voice of God, one off. And then we did like the Old Church Basement record. And when I got to the Grammys and like all the Doves and Stellars, I was like, dang, I could do it. Like, I really felt like that was a Maverick moment, because no one's ever done that. Like, no collective member.
How many nominations did you have that year?
7.
At the Grammys?
7.
I remember.
And I got it tattooed. I had 3 in one category. They was like Dante Bowe, Voice of God, Dante Bowe, Joyful, Dante Bowe featuring Chandler, Wait on You. Actually, 2 was me and Chandler. And then they said CeCe and Anthony Brown. And my grandma looked at me and was like, you already won. You don't need the award. You already won. But that was just with 1 years of work. And I feel like that's a Maverick, somebody that does it different, that changes the game and don't go with the status quo. And if I had not ever been blackballed, I would be one of the biggest Christian stars.
You feel like you was blackballed?
Yeah.
Who blackballed you?
A ton of people.
Really?
Yeah. A ton of people blackballed me. A ton of people talk about me. It's good content. Like, I feel like I gave them good content, And they took it and ran with it. And then also privately, like higher ups, talking about me. Like I said, I was hosting the Doves. Like I was doing some crazy stuff. Like I was on a huge tour with 4 King Country, about to get off and go on my own Joyful tour. But at that point, my reputation was going left. Not just because of me though. Like because just people dogging me, talking about me privately, thinking it's funny what's happening to me, including Brandon. Like just thinking it's funny to talk about me with people and stuff like that. And so it's all love. Like
I want to hit something because you've hit this point a few times, and so just for clarity's sake, you know, I don't want someone to watch this and feel like we were beating. I mean, it is what we were beating up on someone. But this is Mavericks on the mic, and Brandon is welcome to come and say his piece whenever he likes. But what is the sensitivity around the Brandon thing for you? Like just put it on the
because that's my brother. That's the person I love the most. That's the person I roomed with. Gave him wisdom. This the person.
Well, I would even say it this way, like y'all were the first people there.
That too, but also we were friends. Like we were real friends. Like we helped each other become who we are today. Writing styles, like Brandon was gonna be on my album before, like he did my album that I trashed, like before he was even signed. You know what I'm saying? So like, I guess for me, I have some kind of camaraderie when it comes to Brandon. I have respect when it comes to him, even if I found out something devastating, like or something tragic about his character or whatever. Like, I never talked about him to this day. You know what I'm saying? But he was the one person I texted and I said, I will never talk to you again. And he has to live with his first ever huge song, #1 record, gold, probably about to go platinum record, was with me. Like, right after he did that.
So why won't you ever text him again?
I did.
You said you would
I
never.
told him that.
But why?
Why did I tell him that?
Yeah.
Because I was hurt. He's my best friend.
But what did he do?
He pretty much was the one advocating to get me out. You know what I'm saying? The members told me that.
And you felt like that he should.
It hurt my feelings. He could text me, call me. He tried to after the fact. But, you know, I saw him at Jen Johnson's Dove party and we talked and it's all love. It's just that I'm here telling my story.
Yeah.
And he a part of that.
Yeah.
We've forgiven each other. You know what I'm trying to say? Like we've talked since then. We hugged, we like texting, like we DM here and there, you know what I mean? But
I think what make, and I'm sorry, I think that the thing about this that's so good and nuanced is that what you guys are getting the insight into is like what real family looks like. You know, I've worked with my family. My family's fired me before. And we've reconciled a year later. We came back together and I would do anything for them. But the opportunity to be raw in your emotion in a process like this allows for people that may have existing church hurt, gone through things in the past, to look at their situation and say, hey, man, like Dante was really hurt by that. You know what I'm saying? And to hear him say that they're good now, maybe
straight.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Maybe I should make a call to so-and-so.
Yeah.
Because and because we're gonna keep it a buck with Mavericks on the mic. And so when this comes out, there's gonna be a lot of, they didn't have to say that, they didn't have to woo-woo. It's life.
And it's love now.
Yeah.
That's the thing too. Like it ain't this is like we're pretty much giving y'all what the questions that you were asking back then that we all stayed quiet on. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like you're just getting insight on the what, when, why, how. You know what I mean? And it has nothing to do with where we stand
today.
Like, today.
Yeah.
Like right now. Like he could come and sit beside me. I would hug him. Like I miss him. I love him. You know what I'm saying? Like we made history together. I wrote everybody's biggest songs. Like from Joel to Chandler. Not even really Chandler. Yeah. I did, but Chandler wrote a bigger one, Gyra. But everybody else, nobody else did. Nobody else did.
That's funny.
Chandler did write a bigger one. And I feel like that when you do that with people, like you learn from them, like you really get close to them. And you become brothers, you know what I'm saying? And so that's why I was hurt. You know what I mean? Like we wrote a lot of records together. And yeah, hopefully this interview is heard with grace too and respect, because that's all it is right now.
Yeah.
You know it, man. You know we gon' that's what we do, man. Listen, we sat down with the GOAT, man, Dante Bowe.
Thank you, bro.
It's been an amazing pleasure, man. I think this is probably one of the rawest, realest conversations that's ever been had in the space.
I told him this.
Thanks for giving me a voice too.
For sure.
I told you I'd do this, but I just want to publicly give you your flowers, man, and just tell you that, I mean, you created a sound that was anointed and it touched the world, and you were the spearhead of that. And there's no Maverick City if there's not Dante Bowe. And I want to publicly say that so people can, and I mean, we all know that, but I just want you to know that, man. I love you.
Love you too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, man. That's what this is all about, man. Y'all gonna see a lot more of this, man, because you know we spent the half the day people saying how y'all gonna kick Dante Bowe out and then go collab with Glorilla.
Y'all never had a problem with me talking about Bad Bunny like that.
You know, it's so much misinformation surrounding who we are, how decisions was made. I hope that so much of this stuff is cleared up. And this is gonna open us.
I like Glorilla.
Yeah, we love her. I
love Glorilla.
How you gonna? Her middle name is Hallelujah, man. It don't get.
She's nice.
You know, it don't get much better than that. So, listen, this has been Mavericks on the mic. We had an amazing conversation with our brother Dante Bowe. Look, man, like, share, subscribe. This is gonna be one of the legendary pods. So, can't wait. Signing off, baby.